Alrighty. Well, hello there. Hi, Oprah.
Hi.
Um, Hello, friends watching this video. I'm Kiana Elkins. I am a survivor economic justice advocate, artist, and the steward behind the Solidarity Mail Club. Today, I have the greatest honor and privilege of speaking with my dear friend and collaborator, Oprah Jrenal, who is the artist behind the very first piece of artwork going out in the Mail Club. And yeah, today we're just going to talk about the art, learn more about Oprah, and maybe discover how this piece might help us move toward a freer future. So, Oprah, just to start, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm Oprah Jrenal. I use she, her pronouns. I'm just a weirdo in the world, someone who just doesn't settle for less and has a ability to kind of manifest and just see stuff for how it could be versus getting stuck with how it is. Yeah, I like to educate. I like to world build. I like to read. I'm a Taurus sun, Virgo rising, and a Pisces moon. And yeah, I just enjoy being in the world and creating new ones that are happier, healthier, more loving, um, and all that good stuff. And I want to bring people along with me.
And all that good stuff.
And all that good
I
stuff.
I love it. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and pull up the work that you've made for the Mail Club.
Yeah.
Just give me 1 second here. Okay. Alrighty.
Here
So
she is.
there she is. Oprah, can you just tell us a little bit about what you have made here? I believe the prompt I gave you was like very broad of just like your interpretation of a freer future. And this is what you came up with. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. So my interpretation of a freer future. And when I heard that, I wasn't in a good headspace. I can usually imagine myself out of anything. I can usually see the gray where everybody else is seeing black and white.
Mhm.
And when you asked me in those weeks around that, I mean, our social media is showing us the thing that we are fighting against, the thing that we are trying to world build our way out of.
Mhm.
Um, and I felt saturated and heavy
Mhm.
with the horrendous acts across the world. And
Mhm.
you can hear that, and I'm sure something comes to mind, whoever just heard that. So in those weeks, I was really struggling with like, well, what is the future like? And I immediately went to like, well, when was the last time I felt free? And then I was like, well, free from what? And it was like, free from the burden. The answer that came to me was free from the burden of knowing, like free from like just being able to move through the world kind of ignorant to things happening around you. And I remembered being a child and just being like, okay, I don't really know what's happening big world. I know my little world is kind of wild and a little scary and a little unsafe. But for the most part, I go to school, things are kind of regimented, and I felt, free from just the weight of it all.
Mhm.
And so, but thinking back to that little girl, I was like, she also was afraid. She also was feeling unsafe. It's just her world was this big versus how I feel like my world is now.
Mhm.
And the work that she did to survive, to imagine, to move forward is just astronomical. To have me even be sitting here right now is like all kinds of miraculous. And so black people always like, give her flowers, give me my flowers while I'm still alive. When I thought about myself as a child, surviving through what I've survived through to become who I am now, I wanted to give her her flowers. And I wanted to kind of shroud her in these flowers, like more flowers for more things than she ever had to put up with, a flower for basically everything she had to put up with, and more so. Yeah. So I took my time and I was like, I kind of want you to be covered except for your beautiful face, my beautiful face. And then something that has come up in therapy for me is I'm working on my like remothering journey, like remothering myself journey is yeah, there's more to come. Like that just kept coming up through therapy and trying to figure out what that more is
Mhm.
and being hopeful for it.
Mhm.
There was something that this little Oprah had in her spirit
Mhm.
that propelled me to be alive and be here now. And there's something in me right now that is going to propel for 50-year-old Oprah to look back on and be like, oh, I was preparing back then for what I have now, and so on and so forth. And so just understanding there's more to come and being able to also honor where we came from.
Thank you so much. That is such a like I think just a really beautiful and powerful way to honor your younger self. Right now, I think I'm sitting with like I think our relationship to time and maybe how it could be helpful for us to change our relationship to time and a little bit of what you've spoken about here, if this like both your younger self having done this work and like not intentionally, right? You look, I don't know how old you are here, but you look definitely younger than like 7 years old.
Mhm,
And so your whole world, your bubble is so small, and all you have is like what's right here in this present moment, really.
mhm,
Um, but the way, yeah, that as you spoke to, the way that you responded in those moments to set you up to be your glorious self now, and like who you are now, reaching back to give yourself flowers, and also who you are now, being able to create the future that you wish to live in, which I imagine is also a future that is safe for children in ways that maybe your own childhood wasn't safe. Yeah.
yeah. I, I think I'm reading this book right now that's talking about like violence that children witness
Hmm.
and like how it really impacts them, even if they're in the other room,
Hmm.
even if, the parents are speaking sternly to each other, even if they don't witness the hitting, but they witness the bruises,
Hmm.
like how violence really impacts the kids that are around,
Hmm.
even if they aren't like directly being like hurt and abused, but they're just witnessing it.
Hmm.
And yeah, there's whole blocks of my childhood that I don't remember because my brain was like, "Hey, we don't need to like let's just look over here. What there's a book in the corner. You want to go read the book?" So I was like reading books very young and escaping into other worlds and having like an understanding at a pretty young age that like what I had wasn't good enough and like something like there was just something like wrong. Like that was the language I used as a kid was like something's wrong with me, something's wrong with the situation, and there has to be a better way to exist than this. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that what I had didn't serve me. So I was always kind of seeking like what's the thing that feels good, what's the thing that is the most good in this moment, and trying to move through those things.
Hmm. I'm really sitting with the brilliance of a tiny, tiny Oprah. I think there is something that's really cool and maybe we often don't appreciate enough of, which is like the wisdom of children. And certainly when I think about like a freer future, I think of a future that centers like children and elderly folks
Yeah.
specifically. But I have a similar experience to you of like growing up in an abusive environment and looking around me, and the language that I sort of hold on to from that age is like, they're like, there has to be something else, like
Yeah.
just the disbelief and a non-acceptance that what was in my present reality, that there had to be more than what this is.
Mhm.
And for that, what I think is really like a life philosophy to arrive to such a young person and be this like um manifestation tool almost, of like, yeah,
Mhm.
there is more to come. There is something else available. And
Yeah.
like using that as a way to connect to hope, to move through chaotic times, etc. I love that. What a
Mhm.
gift of wisdom.
I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah, you're
Um,
just trying to make it through.
just trying to make it through. Yeah, which a lot of people are just trying to make it through.
Yeah.
And you can like live your whole life just trying to make it through. And I don't think that that's good enough. I think that we deserve so much better than what we've been given. One of the things in the piece is like just right around my eye. I use like the original color from the photo there. And there's like something about like being able to see like what you can color, what you can create, and like building out from there. Like I I didn't know what I was doing. I was just surviving, but surviving wasn't good enough at some point. I was like, I want to be happy. I want to thrive. I don't want to hurt anymore. I don't want to be scared anymore. So, like, what's the more that I have to do to get there? And that could be reading, making relationships, making closer, being vulnerable with people, giving some people up in my life. You try to bring folks along, but at one point you have to decide if they're holding you back or if you're bringing them along. And I feel like for a long time, I was being held back thinking that I was bringing people with me. But that wasn't true over time.
Mhm. I'm curious about what the experience was like to work on a piece that that centers yourself, that honors yourself. What was that like for you?
Oh my gosh, so scary.
Yeah.
I was like nervous. I was like, okay, I just kept thinking about this picture. I don't have a lot of pictures from my childhood. I think a lot got destroyed over time, like in storage units or like left at different properties that we lived in. So like I don't have a lot of photos of me as a kid, but I have this one. I thought of this initially like right away that I like wanted to put a picture of myself in the image in the art piece. And then I was like, you can't just be putting pictures of yourself and stuff. Like, what are you doing? And then I was like, well, actually, I can, because I can do whatever I want. Like, the initial voice that we're given when we're kids, like the voice that is, you're not good enough for that. You shouldn't wear that. You're ugly, or like your hair's too short, or your hair's too nappy, or like whatever. Like all those things, like that's a voice that's like given to us by adults that should have been helping us feel beautiful and amazing, but had their own stuff that they were passing on, their own little things. And so the life work is building up another voice to fight that one down. So that voice for me doesn't go away, but I have built tools to turn the volume down. And I have built up another voice that'll be like, shut up. We're gorgeous. What are you talking about?
Mhm.
And I didn't always have that. I
Mhm.
used to just have the one voice, oh, you're ugly and nobody wants to see your face.
Mhm.
And then another one started building up with therapy and with finding loving friendships, with the changing, just changing how I'm looking at stuff and how I'm moving through the world, to where now I'm like, my first voice might be mean. Like the first thing I think of might be mean, but the second thing that I think of is going to be the way more loving, way more healing voice that's going to be like, no, you are a human being in the world trying to move and
Mhm.
live. Like you deserve grace like anybody else,
Mhm.
that sort of voice. And so, yeah, I was just like, I'm going to do this. There was a point where I was like, I just had the photo on there and I started like thinking about colors and moving stuff around and was looking at other pieces of art that I was like, feeling at the time, like, ooh, that thing was pretty. That thing I saw on that website or whatever. And so I was doing that. And then I look back at my picture of myself, and I don't know how old I am in that photo either. And I don't remember that time. Like,
Mhm.
and so, but I'm looking at this little girl and I'm like, you're so cute. Like, I can't imagine being mean to you. I can't imagine neglecting you. I can't imagine if you came up to me and wanted to talk to me that I would push you away. Like, just this cute little kid. And I was like, dang, like somebody saw this face and was like, hate it, don't like you. And I'm like, whoa. So then I'm seeing this face and I'm like crying about how like sweet and like lovely I was and cute I was as a kid, and how I'm taking care of her now.
Mhm.
Like she wasn't necessarily taken care of emotionally then. I'm taking care of her now.
Mhm. Mhm. I'm very happy that you got over the initial voice and that this is the route that you went into. I think that I can't quite put words to what this statement is, but I do certainly think that there's something to be said about, you know, getting the sort of ask to design a postcard, an item that is going to be sent to people that you don't know, more than likely, and for that postcard to have your sweet, lovely face on it, and you as a child, and to be like honoring and recognizing yourself and to sort of set it up in a way that it's like, yeah, now you are being gifted or like shared with all these other people. And so thank you for that. Um,
Thank you for asking.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You were talking a little bit about the like looking at yourself and thinking about how, I can't imagine neglecting me. You're like, I can't imagine, like you were using the language of imagine and then insert a sort of like harmful dynamic
Mhm.
toward this child. And when you were saying that, I certainly started thinking about, the power of imagination in this present moment, and then moving us into the future of like, oh, I can't imagine when I look at my younger self too, of like, I couldn't imagine hurting this child.
Mhm.
But then I certainly do think that there are ways presently as an adult. I am one of those people in the restaurant when there's kids being kids. And I'm like, oh, they should have left them kids at home, I have to like check myself, right?
Mhm.
Because my maybe imagination is not aligning with my behaviors, my current behaviors or beliefs.
Mm.
And I'm curious maybe about, I don't know if I'm going to word this question right, but curious about, how you're thinking about this imagination and how there are better ways to treat the people around you present day and how you imagine,
Mhm.
the treatment of the people around you in the future.
Ooh. The word that's coming to mind is patience.
Mhm.
I try to have patience for people the way that try to have patience for myself,
Mhm.
like and compassion. And when I have that initial voice that is mean and wants to like tear me down, like I even have compassion for that. You were only functioning on the information that you had. I was only functioning as a child with the information that I had. And that information was given to me by adults that I believed in, that, I didn't have any reason to question them. And so I'm thinking like now that I am an adult, oh my gosh, and I'm just like out in the world, I'm trying to get more attuned to like what feels good, what doesn't feel good, where is the resistance inside of me towards other people or towards myself, and to like do the work there
Mhm.
and exhibit some patience.
Yeah.
People will try your patience. The child at the restaurant tries my patience. I'm in that boat too, where I'm just like, y'all got a chicken tender over there? Do y'all a sippy cup? Like, what are we doing? But always with the mindset of like, okay, the child's needs just aren't being met right now. Somebody needs to meet the child's needs. And so where's the adult? And like, are you okay to meet this child's needs? And we live in such a like individual community and stuff that it's like, can you ask for help? Do you have anyone that you feel like you could ask for help from? And that sort of, so I do get to that mindset. I might initially be like, but I'm usually like, okay, so if I slow down, what is happening here? This is maybe a parent on their own trying to have a meal with a child who just peed and is now sitting in it and mad. So chicken tenders or not, that kid is upset.
Which is very
Yeah.
applicable to all sorts of like, I don't know, interacting with people and they're doing
Mhm.
stuff that you're like, what the hell? Like, this is so not helpful or pleasant or whatever. And I love this, like, let me be a little still, let me take in my surroundings, let me like try to get a grasp of what is happening here, and then
Right.
exercising some patience and maybe some problem solving.
Yeah, a little patience, a little problem solving. I think patience goes a long way
Mm.
because, and also understanding like when we kind of go out into the world, when we do anything where we're interacting with people, like we are opting in for just about anything. That's in your friendships. That's when you go to the grocery store, the cashier, like that's anywhere.
Mhm.
And so you kind of have to be ready for anything to happen. Yeah, while I don't always want to be anxious and like terrified, I also am trying to open myself up to anything beautiful that could happen. Because if
Mhm.
I'm constantly thinking the worst of the people at the store, then when something beautiful happens, I'm not going to be ready for that either. So exhibiting patience, exhibiting some type of like compassion goes a long way
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
for me.
I'm mentally being brought back to one, the name of this piece, There's More to Come. And yeah, I'm in my mind, I'm picturing like a line that like a solid line that ends with the dot and then like continues with the dotted line. This is like all we have is our past experience in the present moment. The future is unknown. The future has not happened yet.
Mhm.
It's currently 1:50 p.m. on February 9th. Whatever happens at 1:51 has not happened yet. And
Right.
so there is so much space and possibility. There's so much more to come. And I'm hearing you when you say in the like, if I'm holding on to what is frustrating in this present moment and that's all that I can see, then I'm going to miss out on all the good stuff that either already exists or that could be
Mhm.
possible.
Mhm. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
What a
I'm also
world.
thinking about you wrote a piece for Substack, and we're close friends, so I also know that this is language that you use of the revolution will not be televised.
Mhm.
Because I'm hearing a lot from you about the ways that you're having to change your perspective and how you move through the world in order to access that more to come. Is there anything that you'd like to say about that?
Sure. Oh my gosh. I think our minds are really powerful. I mean, I mentioned earlier, like, child me was witnessing all kinds of stuff that I don't remember because my brain was like, hey, let's go ahead and smooth that over and like snip those synapses. You're going to be okay. And so, just by like our brains being so powerful, our minds being so powerful to protect us, they can also like help us out in alleviating some things, some anxieties. They can also help us out with this future world building stuff if we like tap into the possibility, put our focus there, put our energy there. There's like the whole change your mind to change the world, change yourself to change the world. Like, we are all individual worlds, and we be colliding, whether it's in the classroom or at work or on the highway going 80 miles an hour next to each other. It's like we are all these individual worlds, and we think we are just profoundly special, which, like, sure, and we're all connected. So it matters that when I get on the highway, I'm paying attention to what's happening for folks around me. Like, if somebody's coming into my lane, if someone is going real slow, yeah, I'm frustrated initially, maybe, but then I'm also going to be like, well, what are they doing? Are they all right? Like, dang. And then I'm going to go around them. If they're texting or some crap, I'll be like, hey, don't do that. That's unsafe. And then I'll drive away. But yeah, I think it's important to like understand like we are all in this, like we're all in this mess together, and we are all working through it differently. The other part is like some people are just head down trying to get through, and some people are like head up trying to be like, what is this? And trying to get out of it completely. So, oh, I think I got too excited. I lost the point. What did you say?
I I also got too excited and I lost my
Yeah,
question.
I have so many thoughts because, like, I think our minds are so powerful, and I think they can either like keep you stuck, or it can also like escape you to some really beautiful stuff and some really new ways of moving through the world. It's all a choice, and it's a choice all the time. It is not just like, bam, I'm done being sad all the time. It's like, no, I'm really sad, and I'm going to do this joyous thing because it gives me joy. So I can hold multiple truths. I think I say that a lot. I'll be like, I can hold multiple truths. I can be miserable in this corner because the world is terrible, and I can also call my friend and laugh. And if I couldn't call my friend and laugh, the misery would just be all consuming. And then where am I? Um, ooh, I had like three more thoughts. They just floated by.
It's okay.
Yeah.
What you shared was beautiful and powerful, so thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think I have any other questions for you. Um, well, the last question. I have one question left for you, which is I'm just curious if you have any like a final message or statement that you want people to walk away with in regards to they're taking in this beautiful piece of art that you've made for us and
Mhm.
you know they're at home because it's going to get mailed out to some people. They're at home and they're looking at this work of art. What would you want them to like take away or take in as they're doing this?
Mm. Maybe with the phrase "the revolution will not be televised" is because the revolution's in your mind.
Mhm,
Like it has to start there.
mhm,
If you're not changing your mind, changing yourself, how you move through the world, number one, why would you expect anybody else to? Like if you're not doing it, and you're not going to expect anybody else to do it,
mhm,
but it starts with us, each of us, like making that individual choice. I also believe the more we share, the more we have. So share the postcard, send it to somebody, talk to people about what you're learning and what you're unlearning. We just need people who are open to sharing things that are making them excited, things that are propelling them to new ways of thinking, and that aren't like afraid to say, yeah, I'm not going to say that word anymore because I realize that it's really pejorative to a whole group of people, or I'm not going to shop at this thing because these folks really love genocide. I'm going to try to shop over here. It might take me longer to get my stuff, my needs met, my things shopped for, but I'm going to do that because I'm the only person that can control my dollar.
mhm,
So I'm going to control my dollar,
mhm,
and everyone else gets to do what they want. And I'm also going to take charge of how I move through the world and invite other people to take charge of how they move through the world.
mhm. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, and wonderful. Yeah, thank you so much, Oprah, for designing this wonderful piece of art and for talking with me today about said art. I really do hope that both just this singular mailing and then also the mail club can offer people the avenue to connect with inspiration, visions of for your futures, and offer a little bit of like a encouraging boost
Mhm.
as we're trying to create to change ourselves and to create a better world that works for all of us. So thank you so much for being a part of that process in this specific way. Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much. And thank you for stewarding this little moment in time, these little experiments. These like, let's try it out because we had the idea. I really appreciate that about you and about the work that we do together. Is like if we talk about the idea too many times, like in a jokey fashion,
It has
at
to
some
happen.
point it becomes real and we just have to do it. Because why not?
Why not? Why
Yeah.
not? Why not? Why not? And there is more to come.
There's more to come.
Alrighty. Thank you, Oprah.
Thank you.